faith without action is just a wish.
I don't want to just be affiliated with my faith. I want to be integrated with my faith.
As entrepreneurs, as business leaders, we are professional problem solvers.
When you have a great team around you, when you got a great plan around you, you feel a lot better.
People think they need to manage time. You have 24 hours in a day. I have 24 hours in a day. Oprah has 24 hours in a day. None of us have any more time, but all of us can manage energy better so that we can optimize that time that we do have.
This is the Own It Show, where we tell stories of how everyday people made ownership theirs.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Own It Show. I'm your host, Justin Rothling-Schofer. And if it is your first time here, first off, congratulations, because you've just entered into something that I think is going to change your life and helping you take a step into what we call ownership. And so on the Own It Show, we tell stories of people who have made ownership theirs and have realized success by living life differently. What does that really mean to take ownership of your different? What does that mean to step into something different to realize a different result? And if you take a look back, there's over 300 different episodes that I've done either solo or that I've had amazing guests on to be able to expose you to people who, again, have gone through that same journey that you're about to embark on. And so all I ask today is if you hear something that transforms your life, if you hear something that makes you think differently, if you hear something that makes you want to live differently, that you would leave a comment, leave a review, or share it with somebody that you love, because that's the only way that we continue to reach, teach, and empower each and every other person out there to step into their God-given potential. And so today I'm so excited because, again, we're back in the home podcast studio. We were just kind of riffing in the backside here. We've got somebody sitting on the outside ready to get like 2 or 3 episodes done. And as I was sitting here, these two men that you're about to hear on this week's episode and 2 weeks from now's episode are people who I do life with on a regular basis. People who, to be honest with you, we've gone along on a tribe-like mentality and brought people in and really have started to see massive transformation in their life. And so I wanted to bring them on to talk about their journey, about their story, because not only are they great men of God, not only are they powerful businessmen, not only have they taken dominion in a way in which they lead their lives, but they're just really good human beings that have also helped shape me. And so I wanted to expose you to them and kind of into my inner world and my inner circle and be able to expose you to these people. So I hope you enjoy today. Let's get going. JP, it is so beautiful to have you here, man.
Happy to be here, man.
We've been talking about doing this for so long, and the fact that like we're sitting here doing this now, I think is just like that full circle moment as to how this happened. And so I'd love for you to share with our audience just a little bit about you today, like high level. Hey, I'm JP. This is what I do. This is what I enjoy doing. And just give them a little insight into who JP actually is.
Little fun fact. Okay. Joshua, I live in Miami with my wife of almost 1 year. And so, so very excited, very excited. I work in leadership for a local real estate brokerage company. So I love doing that. I've done that for a number of years now. And we work all throughout the East Coast of Florida and really around the world. So that's really, really fun. Some hobbies of mine. I spend a lot of my mornings with you. And early mornings, man. Justin comes calling early. And, basketball, family time, traveling, trying different restaurants while also keeping track of my macros. Yeah, just enjoying life, man.
Now, I think here's the funny thing, right? Is I think when people think about people in leadership positions and me just watching you, watching the way that you do things, watching the way that you operate, when I first started to spend a lot of time with you, I was like, man, this guy has so much free time. Like he has so much free time available. And at first, to be honest, I was a little bit jealous of it because I was like, how did he create this lifestyle where he can be wherever he wants? I still remember, I'll tell this story. So JP and I first got connected and he started coming and getting involved in the early morning workouts. And I had a keynote in Palm Beach. And I think I told you like the day before.
Yeah.
And Palm Beach, for those of you who don't know, Palm Beach is about
an hour 15.
Yeah, hour 15 north of Miami. Yeah. And I had a keynote in Palm Beach, and I said to JP, it was like the day before, hey, JP, I've got a keynote tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We're 8 to 10. Would you want to come? And here's the thing, guys. I invited him because I was like, hey, you know what? The message I know is good. He's going to jam with. I know it's going to bring value to him. But I was almost positive he was going to be like, bro, like, thank you so much for the invite. This is amazing, but I've got 19 things to do.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, bro, that's amazing. Yeah, I'll be there. And not only was he there, but the guy was there early. Not only was he there early, he drove me back to Miami home after that. And we had amazing conversation. And that in and of itself right there brought me to the concept of really trying to dive deep into how did you build systems in place so that you could ultimately develop wealth like you have, but then also be able to say yes to what matters to you, what's important to you, and be able to just live a life by design, which is what we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
That you're not like just controlled by your day to day. And so that's a question that I would love for you to dive into and unpack a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the nature of my job is sales and operations. And so that in many ways, I'm able to carve out a couple hours in the morning, but I'm investing those hours either earlier that morning. I'm investing those hours again in the evening. So maybe I had a couple hours more free in the morning, but in the evening, when my wife is like, it's time for dinner, I'm like, give me a couple minutes. I have some deliverables that need to get done today. So let me wrap those up. So it's really just identifying those things that are important to me. What are my personal non-negotiables? I kind of bucketed them into 5. My wife added a 6th one, and it's because she insisted on it. And so it's faith, family, fitness, finances, friends, and the 6th one that my wife needed to be said was fun. I want to have fun. I want to have fun, dear. And I was like, all right. I mean, you can have fun doing any one of those things. No, I want fun, like isolated category. And so for me, I love what I do from a work perspective that falls into the finance perspective. But faith is the center of everything that I do in my life. You know, my faith, God, Jesus just is so transformative in my life. I'm very grateful for everything I have. I know that it is a gift from God. And so I want to steward all of that well. I want to steward all that responsibly. And so, you know, it's not every day that I get an opportunity to go to a Christian business, you know, breakfast and also support a friend. So for me, I'm like, I can tick off a couple of these boxes all at once. I can shift a couple of my meetings, and like on the way back, I had calls that I'm doing, you know, so I can shift around a lot of things. And so it's understanding what's important and prioritizing those things.
When you talk about these 6 buckets, because I think listeners, I don't want that to go just over your head. I think so oftentimes something this simple it goes over the head. It's like, well, is it 6F? Sure. Faith, family, fitness, friends, fun, finance. Like, sure, I get it. Like, I understand these buckets, but like, how did you land on these? How did you start to really picture and framework out what mattered to you so that that's what you could step into?
Yeah. Well, if you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. That's number one. If you're aiming at nothing, well, you're actually you're gonna hit it. And so I'm often asked, you know, how are you doing? What's going on in life? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I think everyone hears these questions and what are your goals? And it's like, these are such massive questions and you want succinct answers. And it's like, I don't know how I'm doing. I don't know what the 5-year plan is going to be. And so for me, it's just like a response to real-time conversations and that I'm asking myself, that other people are asking me, mentors, et cetera, et cetera. Well, how am I doing? I'm doing good. That's the typical dude answer. Yeah, good. Everything is great. Well, no, how are you doing? I actually care. And so for me, it was a way to categorize life.
It's great.
And so when someone asks, how are you? Well, I can begin to navigate those buckets. How am I specifically doing in my faith sphere of life? And I have metrics and KPIs for each one.
Go through that. What are your metrics and KPIs that you actually, and number one, I'm assuming, but you have to be probably honest and vulnerable in being willing to actually say, hey, where am I actually in this?
100%. And by the way, this is also my framework. I pray through this framework. I interact with people through this framework because my motto is I should always be talking about or asking about one of these 6 things.
Interesting.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And if I navigate, if someone can hang with me long enough to navigate through all these 6 elements, I'll know if we're going to be best friends forever. Yeah. I'll know what's most important to you. I'll know what areas and gaps you might be having in life. I know where you might be discouraged. I know where you might be encouraged. So if I want to be a good friend, I know where I can rally around. I know where I can maybe provide resources. I get to know the real you. And once I get to know the real you, well, then I can be a great friend, business partner, whatever, husband, brother, whatever that is, I know I'm dealing with the real you, and I understand that. So when I'm talking about faith, it's like, well, am I doing my own personal commitments? Am I reading? Am I praying? Am I showing up for church? Am I giving of my time? Am I giving of my talent? Am I giving of my treasures? Am I engaged in the community? I don't want to be affiliated with my faith. I want to be integrated with my faith and my faith community. And so that's how I check myself. Where is that on my calendar? Is it falling behind? When's the last time I opened my Bible? When's the last time I prayed? I prayed on the way here, right? Because, I'm ticking off a couple of boxes. I'm being here with you. This is meaningful for me. It's meaningful for you. And I can also take that 20-minute drive and commit it to prayer. God, what do you want to say to me today? Right? So not like they all need to be separated. These things are all integrated. And so faith, fitness, I understand that the way I feel my body is and the way I feel like I look impacts the way I perform in every other sphere of my life. It impacts my fun. It impacts my family. It impacts my finances. It impacts my friends. My fitness. And I'm not saying that that's healthy. I'm not saying that's a healthy thing. But if I don't feel like I'm, from a fitness perspective, dialed in, like there's a large part of me that it gets discouraged and it takes back my performance on all the other things.
Sure.
And so that's why I'm so grateful for OWN. I'm so grateful for being able to dial in on where my body is on cellular or what the heck. So getting the data around some of these things, because I have data around everything else. And I think the fitness space can be so distracting and it can be so much in misinformation like we have in the real estate space right now, tons of misinformation. And so being able to partner with someone who knows what they're doing, very passionate and honest and challenging. I'm like, wow, this makes me better in one sphere, but this one sphere impacts every single other sphere.
I think that's what's unique about the spheres that you've chosen here is they all intersect with one another. And there's an order at which things start to happen. But when you focus on these and build a life holistically around them, that you have KPIs specifically that you come back to, it allows you to now live, again, it goes back to what we talk about, a life by design, a high level of intentionality with a high degree of consistency. It's only a matter of time before you get the outcomes that you desire. Your outcomes become inevitable.
Right.
And I think so often that we get tied up in the result. We get tied up in chasing something. We get tied up in this deep desire that actually isn't God's desire, God's plan, but it's our plan. It's what we want. We want it now. We want it here. And we actually start to compromise one of or multiple sections of what this is. Because as you said, when you're not clear on anything, you fall for everything.
Yeah. I love that you drew a box around that. Y'all can't see it. He drew a box around the things here. And I love what that box...
Cannot see that.
Yeah. I love what that box shows because that's a boundary.
Yeah, that's good.
This is my no compromise zone.
That's good.
These are my non-negotiables. And so when, someone's like, you could ask, I got buddies of mine and some of them like live on different schedules and like dinner's at 9:00 and they're like, hey, let's go out for dinner. And these are people that I love and I would happily travel across the world just to spend a couple of hours with, and they go, hey, let's do dinner, man. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great group. 9:00. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I love you so much. I can't do it. I got to be up early tomorrow. And if I eat this meal this late, it's going to slow me down. It's going to jam up my sleep. I'm going to be disheveled in the morning. And I'm sorry, I can't, but let's do something at 5. 5 is like, oh, that's lunchtime. I'm like, no, man, that's not my lunchtime. So, but I love, we recently had VooCon and Pastor DC, your yes is like a million no's.
Yeah.
I've said yes to these things. By saying yes to these things, I'm saying no to a whole lot of other things. Right. And so these, for me, it really serve as a boundary. It helps eliminate a lot of the noise that comes with life. It helps eliminate a lot of the distraction that come with life because I know where my yeses have already been dedicated to. So that really does help with momentum and trajectory in life in each one of those spaces.
It's beautiful. And I love the way that you said this sense of like a boundary, right? Because I think so often we come back to structure and like a schedule feels resisted, feels like it's rigid, feels like it puts us in a box.
Yeah.
But schedules and boundaries actually create freedom.
Yeah.
Because now you get to actually know, hey, this talk that you invited me to, 8:00 in Palm Beach, it actually is something that I really like to go to.
Yeah.
And if I say yes to this, I know exactly what I'm saying no to or exactly what I'm adjusting.
Right.
But if we don't have boundaries, or if we don't have a schedule, if we don't have a structure,
Chaos.
it's absolute chaos, and it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. It's like running in a hamster wheel and really just going nowhere. Running on a treadmill, you could do a whole marathon on a treadmill and never move, right? You're in that one location, and there's lots of places in the world that they do that, right? Like, we did the Miami Marathon recently. It's like nice to log 26.2 miles and get to see some of the best parts of Miami. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The journey, was beautiful. And so I want to go places. I want to do things. And so I need a structure. I think anyone in my personal life knows, like, if we have a thing, here's my email address. Send it, put it on my calendar. You want to know, just like with your finances, you should know where every penny is going. You need to know where your minutes are going.
Yeah. That's so good. Just as you were talking about this, I've got this for a lot of like the people that we coach and that we take through in different frameworks for what we call energy management.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of times, exactly what you're talking about here, people think they need to manage time. Well, you have 24 hours in a day. I have 24 hours in a day. David has 24 hours in a day. Oprah has 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
None of us have any more time.
Yeah.
But all of us can manage energy better so that we can optimize that time that we do have.
Yeah.
And I think so often we don't look at what we are actually doing. So I actually tell people to do a time energy audit. Take a look at the last week and make a 4-quadrant system. And so in the upper right quadrant, you've got productivity time.
Okay. What would be in productivity time?
So I'll walk you through this in a second. Bottom right corner, you have investment. Bottom left corner, you have delegate. Top left, you have replace. And so running up this left or Y axis, you have how high value these things are. Are they creating high value, high return, high revenue?
Got it.
Or are they creating low value? And then on the bottom, it's how much does it light you up? Is it something you love to do, or is it something you hate to do?
Got it.
So the ones in the bottom left-hand corner, the things that are low value, low revenue driving, and that you don't like to do, you delegate those.
Laundry.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so great. So laundry, cleaning the house, getting groceries, all of these things that we believe we just have to do. No, like it's a mindset shift of, if I was actually to tell you, JP, if we calculated out your buyback principal time, if we actually thought, okay, your business, your company, what is it paying you? If you divide it by 8,000, you actually figure out what your buyback number is. So for me, let's just take easy math here for a second and say, I don't know who this is, but I think it's yours. If we actually grab this, and let's say somebody is making $100,000 from their business, and we divide that by 8,000, your buyback number is $12.50. So whatever time you're spending,
What's the 8,000?
it's the number of hours, and then so it's per year. So it's actually 2,000 hours.
Okay.
That is spent doing this, and then I actually divide it by 4. So it's the amount you're getting paid divided by 2,000, and then divided by 4.
Okay.
Because you want at least a 4x return on whatever you're giving.
Got it. And that's on an annual rate, a weekly rate?
Annual.
Got it.
So, but a simple way to do it is divide by 8,000.
Yeah, I got it.
Yep. And so $12.50. So if I calculate the time that it takes me to fill up my car with gas, wash my car, clean the house, get groceries, all of these things in a week.
2 hours.
If you think it takes you 2 hours to do that?
So wash car, probably.
Wash car, get gas, clean the house.
Let's just do it all at Costco.
So what we actually looked at was to wash our car, to get gas, to clean our home, and to get groceries was taking
4 hours.
No, for the week was taking close to 10.
Mix.
And so according to that, we could invest about $130
Yeah.
in somebody that it would A, bless them,
Yeah.
B, be something that they love, and C, be something that they really valued.
Yeah.
So guess what we did? We found somebody here locally. We pay them $500 a month. They come weekly. They'd wash our car. They fill it with gas. While they do that, they get groceries. While they do that, they come and they clean. And it is such a blessing to them to be able to do this.
I love that.
So now what did I do? I love that. I took things that were in my bottom left quadrant that were not revenue producing, that I hated to do.
Yeah.
And I actually was able to now fill that time, those 10 hours, with things in the productivity quadrant, high revenue producing, and things that I love to do, or put it in the investment quadrant where it's things I love to do, but are low revenue driving, which is what we're doing right now.
What I love is that you've also eliminated the stress that comes with this.
Exactly. And so that's the piece that comes back to this is you now have this time that you can purposefully and intentionally invest back into those 6 areas that you talked about, but you don't know where to reinvest, which is where we talk about replace quadrant. We don't know where to reinvest that time if you don't have the boundaries that you've set.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I just love this framework of the 6 Fs, being able to just be so clear on this and now move forward within this. How does this work within your culture at your business? How do you allow this to rub off on those that you serve and those that you lead?
Yeah, well, obviously in the business space, finances are going to always be one of the leading indicators, but don't let it be lost that every person is impacted by these figures. Now, I'm not going to assume that they're the same level of importance as they are to me, but everyone will find themselves on what now this would be a matrix for me.
Yeah.
I would use this as now a matrix for whoever I'm working with. So if it's a peer, I'm understanding what's important for them and I'm supporting those things that are important.
Yeah.
I'm identifying the things that are challenging for them. And if it falls into my core strengths, offering to fill those gaps.
Yeah.
Proactively eliminating the bottom left for them. Yeah. Increasing value, not only for my company, but maybe it's for someone I'm working on doing an acquisition with or recruitment with. I'm helping to fill in the gaps and help understand how a partnership together or whatever it may be will help you reach your outcome more quickly, but also managing culture, right? And so people want to work with people they want to work with, especially when you get to a certain age and a certain level in your career. And so being mindful of the people that I'm working with and making sure that the culture is encouraging, positive, and meaningful, right? Maybe the bowling party isn't important for you. Maybe for you, it's an extra couple of hours with your kids. Hey, don't worry about the bowling party. Don't come. Yeah. Do not want you to come. Go to your kids' basketball game. Go to your kids' sing-a-thon at the school or thingy, whatever it is. Because that's your top right. Yeah. That's your top right or whatever the level of importance is. That's the far right on your x-axis. And so I want to make sure that people feel encouraged and supported on the things that they most value for them. And maybe the return on investment isn't always financial. Maybe it's emotional. Maybe it's sense of fulfillment. Maybe whatever it is. I'm identifying where people are on the matrix. And they could be subconsciously saying, my family is important to me, but also my finances are important. I need to focus more on my finances so that I one day can spend time with my family. And I will help lead into that space. Well, no, let's make sure you accomplish your goals and your targets at work. I want to also make sure that you are accomplishing your targets with your family. Yeah. What is on the calendar coming up and helping to organize with that.
What has that done from a cultural standpoint with the people in which you lead, knowing that that's how you lead, knowing this?
There's trust there. They want to work harder. There's accountability. There's open dialogue. I think performance goes up. I think a lot of individuals are uncomfortable being honest because I think the world at large hasn't made it okay to be honest. Yeah. You got to be perfect. You got to have all the answers. You got to work at light speed, and that can cause a lot of the stress on that bottom left corner. And you're operating from a place of stress. I'm not getting the best version of you. Yeah. And so my goal is I want my business unit, I want my company, I want everyone I want all of our agents and all of our clients to be elite performers. Yeah. And if they're functioning from a place of just constant stress and make no mistakes, our business is super stressful. But when there's enough drivers and we got this, you're not in it on your own, let me help organize the clutter so that you have a path through the chaos so that you can get across that finish line where there's excitement, there's hope, and you're not going to eliminate stress ever no matter where you go. But when you have a great team around you, when you got a great plan around you, you feel a lot better and feel a lot more excited.
That's so good. I wanted to divulge a little bit into just your fitness journey because I think that's been just something that's transformed the way not only that you look, but the way that you feel, especially in the last 4 months that we've been really that we've been really going. What is that process looked like for you? And what has it meant in the way in which you're able to lead, the way in which you're able to show up, the capacity in which you have, all of these things that I think are buzzwords out there.
Yeah.
But I'd love to just unpack your journey a little bit.
Wow. I mean, we could be here for hours unpacking my journey, if I'm being completely honest. I think to sum it up, I'm a people person.
Yeah.
I think it's another thing, knowing the type of individual you are. I think we leave you alone in the Amazon. I think if we left you alone in the Amazon jungle, you're coming out even more shredded than you are right now. You're just like chopping down trees with your hand and you're building a gym. You're like, yeah, these are my 30-pound dumbbells. I just know what that means, you know, and somehow they're kilograms. They're not even pounds. I'm like, okay, cool, man.
Justin's got trees carved up.
I just think you're the kind of guy, you will figure it out. For me, I'm just so community people based. I thrive with people, you know. I think there's built-in accountability, there's built-in encouragement, there's built-in crossing off a couple boxes, you know. But I've had seasons where like I lock in, headphones on, I don't see nobody, I don't care about nobody, I'm gonna dominate. And you know, I've had seasons like that, but I don't know how sustainable that is for the long.
I was just about to ask, do you feel like there's a lack of sustainability?
It's just not sustainable. You know, I think during COVID, a lot of like individual like grind sessions, and I did that and I had thrived in that and my body looked amazing. But then, you know, the world came back to regular stuff and it's hard to operate in that way, you know? So anyway, a lot of distractions. There's this influencer saying that, there's this program saying this, and look at my testimonial, look at that testimonial. This was 30 days here, 40 days there, fasting, intermittent, all greens, all meat, no meat, all carbs, no carbs, right? Like there's like a 1,000 different ways to accomplish a fitness journey. And then it's like, do I want to go hypertrophy or do I want to go do HIIT? Do I want to do a 30 minutes on a thing? Do I want to walk and stand up on an incline? And then do I just want to just do body weights and calisthenics? I'm like, there's so much here. And I'm like, it can be overwhelming. And then, you know, so it was just so distracting and different things worked for me at different times, not always sustainable. And ultimately what I found was that I am doing the work, but I'm not seeing the results. There's no way that I am spending this much time in the gym, sometimes doing 2 a days and not getting the results as someone else that is also doing either the same amount of work or less amount of work that I'm doing. I said, so something must be off. And so that can lead to natural frustration. And then as the responsibilities increase at work, responsibilities increase with being a homeowner, responsibilities increase with getting engaged, getting married, responsibilities increase as families grow. As these things grow, the weightiness of them gets greater and greater. And those things that have the structures can be supported. Those things that do not, they kind of get frantic.
Yeah.
And so I'm going like, I don't have a firm foundation in this fitness space. I have a cupboard. Do people say cupboard? Like, what is this? Is that a real word? Do people use that? I have a cabinet filled with supplements.
I say cupboard.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But you're kind of Canadian, right? So that's like
we do have a lot of Canadianism.
You know, it's just and so I have a cabinet full of supplements that 85 different people are like, take this powder, take this supplement, take that thing. And I'm just like, I love it. Throw it in the water, shake it up. And here we go. And I'm like, I'm not seeing anything different. And so that gets frustrating. You see the numbers on the scales going the wrong way. You go to your tailor like 85 times, take this in, bring this out. Like, you know, it's like, what are we doing? And so you get to a place of frustration. And again, how I feel in my fitness space impacts everything else.
Yeah.
I'm getting more frustrated with my wife. I get frustrated with myself. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do this. I have low energy. You know, feeling like I'm dragging. I don't drink coffee. And now I'm entertaining like a coffee. Like what is even coffee? Like, you know, so it's just, it can very quickly be quicksand. If there's no structure, you can easily fall and then somehow you fall farther and farther and farther. And you can feel like, man, that home base is just getting farther and farther. I don't see a road back. And so I got to a place when we were ultimately training for this marathon. And, you know, there's 1,000 different marathon advice. Get the shoes, run slow, run fast, do these drills, do these stretches. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm doing to do it all. And I get to a place where like enough voices were saying it really changed when I understood my labs. And I'm like, what are labs? That seems complicated. I don't work for a professional sports team and I don't have like an agent that's going to like organize all of this for me. I'm not going to lab court. you know, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm like, this sounds good. It sounds like it would work because there's science, but this seems so impossible. Then there was another provider that said, oh no, we can bring, you know, professional blood work and labs and supplementation right to you. I'm like, amazing. I tried everything else. I need to try this. I just had the conviction I should try. Enough voices that I respected said, this is how I maintain myself in my years and with my family and the weight of life. This is the structure I have in place that keeps me on track. And so I said, no, let me do it. I'm going to do it. You know, there was a price tag on it. I paid the price tag and I was like, what is this? What is this? I could Google this and put it in the mail and send it to myself and tell myself, good job. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, I felt like another waste of time, felt like another waste of energy. And I was just discouraged again. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? So I go with a buddy of mine and he actually brought you up. We were doing a marathon training run. And he goes, have you ever heard of Justin? Because I was telling you, I did these labs with this company. It was a complete waste of time and money. And I felt like being switched, bamboozled. And he goes, have you ever heard of Justin? I was like, no, but Justin. He's like, you got to talk to Justin. He's like, he does that. And I'm like, all right, so another guy that does that, you know, like who is this random person? Like who's stabbing me? Like, like who is like, I don't know if I trust Justin like that. Like, what are we doing? He goes, no, just have a conversation with Justin. He works with a lot of professionals. He himself is a professional and this is what he does. It's his business. I go, yeah, all right. I mean, if you trust him, I trust. So I gave you a call and I'll never forget, you were in transit. You were like on the way to
I was in airport.
Yeah, you were in transit. So you were on your way to a stage or a big event or you just like at an airport getting ready to board and you're like, yeah, I'll carve out a 20-minute session for you. And I don't know who I thought I was at the time. You know, I could have just been my ignorance or my desire to just want to get a problem solved. And I'm like, hey man, like, I don't really know who you are, but my buddy told me you're amazing. So I trust him, but here's what I'm looking for. And you're like, you go right into your deal. You know, you're like, you just want to be different. Here's what you're doing. I remember dropping some names on that call. I was like, listen, man, so is it like a cold shock? And he's like, are you by a computer? And you're like, can you see my screen right now? I think I just triggered you. And you sat me down and you just pulled up a whole presentation. Like, this is what we're going to do. This is what it looks like. And this is the things. This is what it looks like. You need cellular deficiencies. You start going off. I'm like, well, what about this? You know, that's not even a real thing. And here's why I say that. You need to, have you seen my YouTube videos about cold and hot treatments? And this is how you really do it. You brought so much knowledge and information for me, answered a lot of the questions that were just big question marks and unknowns for me. And you really started to bring some perspective and started to, like, from the quicksand, it started to become harder and harder and harder where I had this information and understanding. I go, okay, cool. Well, and then you walk me through some scenarios. Well, here's my ultimate goal. Well, I'm going to say, I want it. You go, what are you looking to do? It's like, I want to run the marathon in January. It's like, it's not about a marathon. We're not here to help you run a marathon. We're here to help you live a healthy lifestyle. Yeah. For the long term, the marathon of a life. I'm like, yeah, I guess, but like 26.2 is a lot. Yeah. And so you really challenged, you didn't know me and you challenged me, and even then I was a potential client at the time and you like, dude, you're wrong. You're not thinking about this in the right way. I mean, I guess we can help you get around. I remember I'm like talking about peptides. You're like, dude, you're all over the place, man. Just, so
even as you say that, like, I just go back to what you talked about here is you did not have boundaries around this one pillar. You had boundaries around the whole group of 6, but you had no boundaries around individual.
There was no system. There was no real system. And if it was a system, it was a shallow system. It was like word of mouth or my personal research and Google, ChatGPT, Instagram, whatever it is, and just like a collection of stuff. And for you to bring just information, the actual data, and walk me through the process of like, hey, we're going to get to the labs. Here's a real life, realistic timeline. We're going to do everything we can to help you at your marathon. But, this is to help you to change your lifestyle for the long term based off of you specifically. Listen, could it be this? Could it be that? Maybe, but we don't know until we understand how you've been designed, how you've been wired. These labs will help us do the hormones. We're going to understand your hormones. We're going to do your cellular things. We're going to understand your cellular deficiency, your micro deficiencies inside of you specifically right here, right now. And that might change 3 months, 6 months from now. Yeah. But the idea is that we're tracking with your body as your body is tracking with you, supplementing according to your needs. That's what you need. We're going to clear out your cabinet. We're going to narrow it down exactly what you need.
Make it simple.
We're going to make it simple and specific to you. Could it be a carnivore diet for you? Maybe. But we don't know until we understand how you're wired. And I remember going through that process. LabCorp came to me. I remember, Amanda. I love Amanda. She's a professional herself. And I was like, oh, there's another professional here. It didn't seem very gimmicky. It was like, no, I was like, Amanda, when are we going to get the drugs? Okay.
Yeah.
I want PEDs. No one is testing me, and I don't care if I don't go to the Olympics. Give me PEDs. And she goes, Joshua, that we're not doing drugs. We're doing supplements. And if we can't fix it with our diet, we're going to fix it with our diet. She's like, so say it with me now, diet, not drugs. I'm like, drugs. My marathon is in 3 weeks, you know? And so I'm just so grateful for the information that I've gained, an understanding about my body. I know that I'm prone to inflammation a lot easier, which means I need to recover intentionally. Gluten, my body has sensitivities to gluten. So I'm mindful. I'm going places. I was in Italy. I'm like, gluten-free. They're like, this guy, and so it's just really just having more information about who I am. It's going to help me go the distance.
Walk me through it, just like really quickly, what it looked like before versus where you're at now.
Hectic, chaos. Think about a heart monitor. It's like doing great, doing bad, doing great, doing bad. I mean, I wrote it down a certain way in my notes the other day.
And that roller coaster is exhausting.
And this, I don't want to say it the way I said it, but it would oscillate between the shiz to I ain't shiz. And that's the mental journey every single day. I got it. I don't got it. Everything's gonna be great. I don't know if everything's gonna be great. I don't know. I got all the answers. I don't know if I have all the answers. And then that sort of sluggish, depressing sort of a state when it comes to facing myself in the mirror, I'm just like, it can seem hopeless and daunting, and yeah. And so I would say I came at a very meaningful time, and I was able to do the marathon, and I have steadiness now, and I understand the numbers. The numbers aren't like, well, how did that get there? I know how that got there. I had a couple of tequilas last night, and I didn't sleep, and I went outside my macros, and that's why that number is there. And so really understanding that, I can own it.
And there's a level of ownership.
I can own it now.
I love it. Josh, for somebody who has just lived in ownership in so many different areas of their life, somebody who has understood pre and post ownership in different areas of these buckets that you've been able to put forward, what would you say in a word or a phrase is your definition of ownership?
Accountability. That's everything. Accountability. It's your responsibility. It's not on anybody else. It's on you. And you go, well, I don't know. Well, that's great. You just made yourself accountable to the information that you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
Well, then what are you going to do with that information? For me, I knocked on a lot of doors. I asked a lot of questions to the point where I'm calling you in the middle of an airport. And so it's taking ownership. Like, it's on you, right? And I'm so grateful that you've helped me initially, but now it's become more than that. We're friends, and you help me continually.
Yeah.
Where you're holding me accountable, and you're a nice guy, tough guy, nice guy and a tough guy, and so, I'm very, very grateful for how own it and help me to own it. But for me, it's all about accountability. At the end of the day, it's you and you. Even in every one of those spaces in life, it's on me. Family, that's on me. Faith, that's on me. Listen, the Spirit of God is in me, and I have that grace. It's still on me. I got to show up each and every day, and choose some surrender and submission to Jesus.
Yeah.
Choose to follow him and to trust him. And it's impossible to please God without faith. And that's on me.
Yeah.
Okay. Faith is a gift, and yes, God can increase it. It's on me.
I mean, faith without action is just a wish.
Right. So my finances, I got to wake up.
Yeah.
I got to go to work. if I have debt, I want to get out of debt, I have to build that budget.
Yeah.
I got to stick to that budget.
Yeah, you do.
No one's going to do that for me.
Yeah.
Right. And I can literally walk the fund. I got to schedule it. It's got to be on a calendar. If it's on a calendar, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
My wife probably will not watch this. We have our year anniversary coming up, and she thinks I'm not going to plan anything because she's like, because we're going to be celebrating, and that's really good fun. I was like, but we are going to be celebrating. And she's like, well, what about the day? We can't celebrate the day. No, we're going to celebrate it for days. We don't need to worry about the day. We're just going to go to church. And no, what about the day? I said, maybe. She goes, well, I go, well, did you plan anything? She goes, I didn't plan anything. Yeah, I've had it planned, but it's an idea of owning it. She's looking at me to plan it all. And I think carrying that responsibility, hey, this is on me.
Yeah.
I got to make sure I'm the one that's got to answer it. Even at the end of time, at the end of the day, when we stand before God, it's us and God that we're going to have that conversation. Justin's not going to have that conversation for me. My wife is not going to have that conversation for me. My boss is not going to have that conversation for me. My pastor's not going to have that. I have to give an account for the things that I said yes to, the things I said no to, for the way I showed up at life at every single moment. And that is on me in every single space.
So beautiful. Even as you're saying that, it just like, it just reaffirmed the power of that word accountability. I think we often give away. It's the account of what you are able to do.
Yeah.
The account of what you are able to do.
Yeah.
And I think so many of us forget that is we've been given abilities, but we don't want to take an account of those.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm just going to do what I want, what I feel like.
Yeah.
And we wonder why we struggle. We wonder why we get off track. We wonder why our boundaries don't sit. It's because we don't take the account of the things that we've been just blessed to be able to do.
Because it's hard, right? Like,
Sure it is.
you don't want to look at the monster under the bed. It's scary.
Yeah.
And truth, it's so funny. Truth brings freedom. And yet so many people respond to truth as scary.
Yep.
The promise that we have is the truth will set you free.
Uh-huh.
Nobody wants to look at the elephant in the room or the monster under the bed. It's easier, less resistance if I just kind of go with the flow. I don't feel like it, or I'm not tired, or now's not the best timing. We'll procrastinate and push down the road. What I found is, procrastination just makes heavy things heavier.
Yeah.
And what I have come to learn is if the clearer my vision is, the clearer my understanding is, the clearer my information is, well, the heavy thing gets a lot lighter because I have more clarity around where I'm going and what I'm doing. So yeah, I just got to roll out of bed, look under the bed and tell the monster, you got to go. Oh, wait, it's not really a monster.
It's great.
There's nothing.
It's a mouse.
Yeah.
It's a mouse.
Yeah.
It's actually more scared of you than.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
It's so good. Well, bro, I've just enjoyed doing life with you. I enjoy when you like show up here every single day, and I just want to honor the effort, the intention, and the consistency in which you put in, because it's something that I think not only makes our group better, but makes me better in the same way as you guys all challenge me to, again, lead better, to be better, to hold me accountable. And I think when you do life with people, it makes everything so much more powerful.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. I love you.
Love you too. What can our audience do to serve you?
Wow, that is a massive question. Well, rising tide raises all ships. So just, live your life to the fullest. Don't be scared. Take action and go get it.
And where can people find you? Where can people find you, interact with you? And
I'm on Instagram. If you're looking for anything in the real estate space, if you're an agent yourself and you want to align with the best brokerage in the world, reach out. If you're looking to sell or buy a property, feel free to reach out. We can help you with that. You can find me on Instagram. And you can find me with this guy.
I love it. I will tell you guys, this guy has been just instrumental in our journey in the real estate space, and is connected North America wide, worldwide in a real powerful way. So I just encourage you to look up JP. JP's just been a wealth of knowledge for me and has continued just to elevate everybody around him. And so guys, when we sit back and we actually look at this, we have to realize that what is structured gets stronger, and what has no structure around it gets frantic. And as the things that lead a life of franticness, it ultimately creates this lack of accountability. It creates this stress. It makes the heavy things heavier, and it continues to just weigh us down. As entrepreneurs, as business leaders, we are professional problem solvers. But what happens is that skill set of being a professional problem solver leads into creating more problems because we do it to ourselves. And so the faster that we can open our eyes to the truth, the faster that we can get truthful with ourselves, the faster that we can get clarity on what our priorities are and what matters to us, so that we can ultimately take account of what we're able to do to step forward powerfully, is the moment that you get set free. At the end of the day, we know that we're called to a life of different. We're called to a life to be different. We know that success is different. So own your different, and we'll see you next week.